Tippy time my dammies, Topgate here and welcome back to the channel. This is not a turret build. This blue meanie is all about shatter damage. I was asked by several of you to update my Ballidorse build for this season, and I'm really glad I have. This artifact is rife with toys, and the subclass got some good buffs. However, we do have some mod and subclass nerfs to consider. Make sure to hit that thumb if you like it. That said, we begin with the exotic, the Ballidorse Wrathweavers. These are a two-parter. These make our supers shockwave deal increased shattered damage. We have different values against mages and bosses, but with them you'll be able to delete champions at Grandmaster level. And this is actually without that stasis surge. At standard, we deal 87,000 a pulse to mages with a max 435k. With the Ballidorse, this actually jumps to 183,000 a pulse and a total of 915,000. Against bosses, however, at standard it does 46,000 a pulse and a measly 231,000 damage. But with the Ballidorse, this jumps up to the high end of our Warlock supers for 405,000. When our super is active, this super pulses to give your allies 50 HP overshield and a tier 4 stasis surge. However, season 23 saw the addition of this buff also added to our rift. Base, my Vesper does 8,792 damage. With a tier 2 surge, we go to 10,287. But with rending, our primary weapons do increase damage to crystals and frozen targets. This jumps our damage up to 22,583. You could rock an Empowering Rift to push this damage a little higher. I preferred healing though, as Stasis doesn't really have an inherent healing attribute in its subclass tree. Frost Pulse saw a buff to its activation timer, and it also got a buff to its freezing radius. It is now 8.5 meters, up from 8. I like running the Judgment of Kalgroth with it. Glaze are hot at the moment, and this is an easy way to shatter all. It can be crafted with enhanced Wellspring on it. This way we can chain our rifts back to back to back. So now we've become a little shatter bomb. Whisper of Refraction will return subclass ability energy back to us whenever we defeat a slowed or a frozen target. So just pick up your nuts and run straight at those mofos for that freeze. Speaking of nuts, Ice Spear Bolts is absolutely nuts this season. It's now perhaps the best kill chain ability we have. When we shatter a frozen target, it spawns Seekers, aka Cold Snap Grenades. These will track out and freeze other targets. And this can go on endlessly, on and on and on, and will actually loop back on itself a couple of times on larger targets. This makes ad clear very easy and will actually buff our supers too. Just attack the larger prey and this will flare off and branch out. When you pulse it, it'll take all with them. And any ads the pulse didn't destroy, the artifact will clean up for you. Whisper of Fishes increases the damage and size of the burst of stasis when you destroy a stasis crystal or defeat a frozen target. It's hard to quantify just how good this is, except to say you would be a fool not to use this inside Season of the Wish. There are 4 artifact mods you're going to want. Dragon's Bite will freeze targets on shield breaks. Torch buffs our weapon damage on targets affected by stasis when radiant. Hail of the Storm again buffs our shatter strength and releases shards that slow. And lastly, Pillar of Ice makes stasis crystals on demise. This will go a long way for our survivability and pairs with the Whisper of Chains. While we are near frozen targets or friendly stasis crystals, we take reduced damage from targets. This is a 40% damage resist, making this just as good as Woven Mail after its nerf. Glacier Grenade is stronger now due to the artifact, and it got a massive cooldown buff to 2 minutes, down from 245. Now the Ballidorse buff our stasis surge, so weapon selection is key. Wicked Implement is good, but Burglass is evil. Its perk is Hail Barrage. Final blows with this weapon grant stasis arrows. Your next hipfire shot will then create a stasis crystal. This can stack up to 5 and will create a wall of ice envied by the Witch King. And with that rending fragment, this will allow those crystals to explode with just one shot of your bow. And then Hail of the Storm and the artifact will subsequently shatter all the rest of them. It's a lightweight bow that packs a punch. Its 580 draw time is then pushed even further with the catalyst wherever we freeze a target or slow a target, quicker draw time. For heavy options, I've been using the Fire and Forget. Recurrent Impact can run both Subsistence and Frenzy, so we can do add, clear and boss damage. The Cold Comfort has a laundry list of good perks. Mine here has Explosive Light, and with that Stasis Surge, it makes short work of champions. If you want Carnage, make it final. And then we've also got the Scalar Potential. I'll be using this when we need to overload champs. I can use this Arc Affinity to break shields, then when I want to use that Stasis Surge from my Rift, Permeability will then turn this into a Stasis Surge. I first laughed off this perk, but it's actually added a level of flexibility to my builds that Osmosis never really itched. And with this build, we'll never be shy of Rift Energy, so feel free to weapon swap freely. Feel free to pause here if you want to copy the mods, but I'll make sure to leave a dim in the description below. I'm really digging this build, guys. I don't think Stasis has ever been this good. Even at launch of Stasis, it was strong in Crucible, yes, but it never really found its footings in PvE outside a few outliers. The artifact at first seemed a little lackluster, but Bungie gave us what it needed most. The means to trigger cascading shatter explosions. I am so very happy to take off those Osmios and turrets and encase all, shatter all, in any level of content. But I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Make sure to thumb it if you liked it, sub if you're new, and until next time, tippy tie my damies, what a tie.